Hi, welcome back to Inge's Knitting Lab Along. I have now reached the point in my project making the lacy cable tee where I'm ready to join the yoke here at the neck to continue in the round. And in this episode I will show you how to make the fourth and final V-neck increase. If your size calls for 5 V-neck stripes, just continue finalizing your fourth stripe and we will meet up in the next episode and I will show you how to do the fifth and final V-neck increase. It's done in a bit of a different way than the fourth one. There are two versions depending on your size, because some sizes have 4 V-neck stripe increases before you join and some have 5 V-neck increases before you join. However, all sizes and pattern editions are in section 7 now. And so, as usual, let's have a short overview on the final tee before we engage in the actual knitting. Here you see the two different versions, the one with the 4 V-neck stripes and one with 5 V-neck stripes. And the difference is that the new center stripe here will become a lacy cable stripe, and over here with the 5 V-neck increases it will become a tree trunk stripe. So let's push this one aside for a bit. We will cover it, as I said, in the next episode and focus on the one with the 4 V-neck increase stripes. And I'm now ready to start setup row 1 here in section 7. And in section 6 I prepared the first 6 rows of the fourth and final V-neck increase. So I am here. So now I miss the last purl increase being this one, and when I start this setup round I will start making the outer edge stitch and turn it into a purl stitch, this one, because now this edge stitch and this one will enclose the new cast on stitches being the lacy cable stripe. So on it goes. 1 purl, 3 knit stitches, and then I can actually remove this one now, because once I have made this purl stitch leaning to the left, I am done making all the increases for the V-neck. So now I can continue with an SPR3 round and work my way through to the right shoulder here, or the right side of the V-neck, and make the increase over here. And I remember that I still need to do the increases here for the raglan, so I miss a purl stitch here. So let's meet when I'm over here. I am here at the right side of the V-neck now, ready to do the last increase of the 4th stripe. So again I can remove this one, lift the bar and make the final purl leaning to the right. I knit the 3 edge stitches and the last one becomes a purl, this one. So now we need to cast on 3 stitches for the center stripe. And when doing so, it's very important that we do it very tight as we can. And we do this in order to avoid holes at this point at the tip of the V-neck, where when you start wearing the tee, there may become strain on this part. So we don't want holes to stretch here. And I have cast on 3 stitches, and I can now connect the right hand side to the left hand side needle with a purl stitch and do it very, very tight. I will now try to pass on a tip to you that I got myself from Suzanne Bryant, a very skilled technical knitter. And she says if you want to avoid the slack when casting on new stitches, you can reduce the number of cast-ons by 1 or more depending on the number of stitches you need to cast on. But in this instance, I can cast on 2 stitches and then join here. And when I then reach this point when passing over the cast on stitches, the slack that I see here between the new cast on stitches will give me the room to make an increase of a stitch here so that I get the 3 stitches, however, more tight. If you don't feel confident in using this technique, just cast on the 3 stitches, no problem. If there is a kind of a gap here or you see a slight hole, I will show you in the episode where we make the V-neck I-cord band here how you can mend this and enforce this tip of the V-neck so that it will look nice after hours and days, months and years of wear. So no problem, but I will try to do this, and now I will just knit an SPR4 round without increases, and let's meet when we have to pass over these cast on stitches again, and I will show you how to do the Suzanne Bryant trick here. I'm here at the end of setup round 2 now, and ready to work the stitches I just cast on. So I just do the purl, and look what happened. Even though I did it as tight as I could, I still have this slack yarn here with the risk of getting me some distance here or holes in the V-neck. So I will now apply the Suzanne Bryant method to get it even more tight. So what I will do now is that I will knit the first cast on stitch, then make yet another. It's just an increase to the right. You will see it's so easy, and then the last one. So I just knit the first one. I have this slack, there's quite a lot of it. So I lift the strand, place it on the right hand needle so that it is just an increase leaning to the right. And I knit it, and I knit the last one, and I remember the front and the back legs suiting my knitting style, and then work the purl over here. So now you can see that these increases have the loops leaning right and look the same, and I got 3 cast on stitches out of 2 cast ons on setup row 1. And yeah, this is the reason why Suzanne Bryant does this method, to get it as tight as you can to avoid the holes here. And once we have worked more rows here, you will see that it is actually a very good method. But before I move on, continuing in the round and finalizing the raglan increases, I will place my new end of row marker here just before the purl stitch of the edge stripe here. So now I'm ready to do more raglan increases over here. So what's up next? I will finalize the yoke here, and we need to finalize this V-neck Icord band before we engage in all the tailoring of the body. And then we will look at how to do the Icord band here at the V-neck to make it nice and avoid possible problem areas here with the gaps. In the 5th V-neck episode, I used the usual 3-stitch cast on method here. So if you foresee that you may have a risk of gaps or strain here in this area, then look at the V-neck Icord episode to see how we can mend it, as I mentioned earlier. So up until then, happy knitting with your project, and Roger and over from Inge's Knitting Lab along here. Bye bye.